Yo, what is up? So, I usually don't do content like this, but I'd actually love to. Sorry if the mic quality is shit. It's just literally just came out. Probably like it says um it's 10 o'clock. No, it's 8 o'clock my time. So this came out 5 hours ago. The Rolling Stones' greatest 200 hip hop albums of all time. Now, I've went through their 2013 and 2012 top 500 albums. They're decent list. I didn't finish the 2021 or 2021 because I was actually planning to make a video on that, but it just got too busy, too much editing, kind of a little lazy for that. Not really gonna read too much. I just want to give you guys some raw reactions. Now, I've already looked at the list, so we're just gonna get to some highlights. I might have to cut this video up. I'm not sure, but start with number 200, Travis Scott's Astro World. I don't think this is a bad pick. Um, Technically, when I think of the top 200 greatest rap albums, I think we need to think about how long rap has been around, right? Mid the late 70s to present day. And I'm not saying that it's gonna be like this, because even my own list wouldn't indicate this by the time I write it down, but you'd assume there's probably about 40 albums from about each decade. You got 40 from the 2020s, 40 from the 2010s, 40 from the 2020s, the 90s, the 80s, or you get what I'm saying, throw a couple of the 70s in there. The Astro World, now you'd probably have to make a top 5 album of the year if we're saying everything's an average. I don't think Astro World was a top 5 album of 2018. It might not even been a top 20. I actually really used to like this album a lot. I still think it's pretty good. A lot of people give it the early classic status. I personally wouldn't. I'm gonna actually move on because I'll just end up giving album by album reviews. But I think Astro World at 200, it could earn its spot here, but I think it was a little premature. Probably same so with this next entry, Juice WRLD's Goodbye and Get Rid of It. I actually am not a singles guy. I usually listen to albums, but when I heard All Girls Are the Same, yeah, I actually really liked it and thought Juice WRLD had something good coming up, which he did. He did. KMD still gotta listen. Still gotta listen. I'll talk about each one I have listened to, like ASAP Rocky, like this one right here. Long Live ASAP. Now, Long Live ASAP. This is well, I know testing as well, but I don't know if this is a early entry. I mean, it's 10, 12 years old, 11, can't even talk. I deem it a classic myself. I think its entry on this list is probably well due, but we'll have to see. Pop Smoke is probably a premature entry, especially with his death, but I do think he makes great music. He's probably got a couple classics under his belt. I haven't heard the OG Meet the Woo, so I'll leave it at that. I haven't really heard too much of Draco the Ruler, but back to what I was saying. Probably have to have a top 5 album of the year. Don't want to, yeah, let that pass. Um, I still have a lot of hip hop to listen to, so you guys are gonna see me skip a lot of albums that you'd probably like to hear my opinion on. But I promise you, I will talk about every album, or at least mention it. Now, I haven't listened to this, but Flo Milli on a top 200 list all time. It just, I don't even have to say more. Yeah, I have a lot of hip hop to listen to. You guys will have to excuse me. Probably start talking a little louder as well. Hopefully, that's not a bad idea. Polo G is probably a little premature, but I haven't heard it. Okay, so classic 80s gangster rap album. I actually like Easy Does It. Now, I'm not gonna say this out loud, so I'll just say it once, but Personally, I don't know if this is one of the best rap albums I've ever heard, but knowing when it came out and what it did for rap and Eazy-E's place in hip hop, I wouldn't deny this album a top 200 spot. It would probably be in my top 200, but I also have a lot of classics to listen to. This is a hip hop list, so I'm actually fine with Shrimp Life. Montero, this is a premature entry, even if it wasn't. I don't think Montero's a top 200 hip hop album. That's a huge stretch. Alright, and we got Lil Uzi's Eternal Take. I agree, Uzi did not disappoint. There's some bangers on here. I think P2 is probably a little overrated just because of it being the remix or the continuation of EXO Tour Live. I think this is probably Uzi's best project. Definitely has his best songs and probably his most best songs on there, but I'd have to re-go through his catalog. You know, you see a lot of the albums you think they'd put up here. Um, Obviously this is very premature. Its influence is pretty strong right now when you look at the underground, the Yeats, Fagos, Ken Carsons, and all these guys. He has huge influence. I actually think this album's pretty good, maybe. I just think there's a lot of bad songs on here. Like Control is really good. I actually like the song, but Punk Monk is not good, and Beano is not good. Here it is, Beano. But Whole Lot of Red, it might work its way up here. I don't think it's a top 200 hip hop album of all time, but I think it's pretty good. Now I need to get a tally of how many people have each album on here. I probably won't bring this up too much, but Young Thug, one of my favorite artists, very great. I would probably put this a little higher, but we'll save that for later. Got a Tyler album. Daytona, this is a classic. You guys have already heard everything great to say about it. Just doesn't waste a second. ODB, I actually need to listen to that one right there. Got done with the 36 Chambers, Enter the Woo, another Thug, and Jeezy. Okay, it's probably not a bad way to end off the top 100. Personally, I probably listen to around 10 of those albums. I'm a huge hip hop head, but I do have a lot of hip hop to listen to. Okay, not bad. Carter 3. Alright, this looks like it's getting pretty solid right here. Starting to get a lot of classics. For sure. Mm, this could maybe be top 90 hip hop. Maybe. I'm not sure. There's also a fat line between rap and hip hop. I'm okay with them being on the same list. I'd probably take Man Over the Moon over the Slim Shady LP, but they're both classics. There's no hate. Azalea Banks. Shit, I don't know about that looking ass. They got fucking. I'm not even gonna say her name. And see, you guys know this list is to cater to some people, obviously. Now that I see Megan Stallion on here, I'd like to say Tory Lanez probably has a top 200 hip hop album, maybe even two of them. Great discography. He probably won't be on this list. Okay, MF Doom. Yeah, that KMD album was early. See, now as someone who's into like the beyond the surface stuff, I understand. I truly understand like not having these albums up higher, but I think Life After Death, as far as I'm at, it's definitely a top 5 rap album of all time. Yeah, no name is probably a little premature. Maybe she can make the top 200. I'm not a big Migos fan, but Culture was great. It could maybe make the top 200. What is this? The top 50 now? Okay. NWA, straight out of Compton. There is no argument to that. Wow, Tyler album that came out last year. Now it is interesting to see how they shuffle the new with the old. Now the Chronic, I actually started listening to the Chronic earlier this year, but that was actually the same week they took it off of streaming services. Man, that shit was growing on me. It probably is one of the best rap albums I've ever heard. It's like this and like that and like this and like that. Yeah, that shit's great, y'all. It really is. I need to listen to that shit again. Good Kid, Mad City. I respect it. It could probably be top 40. Maybe not all time, but as far as I'm at, I can definitely say it's probably one of the 40 greatest rap albums I've heard. Now, Finally Rich is actually an interesting pick. This is probably the first rap album I grew up on. Chicago drill music was the first like subgenre of music I actually dove into. I don't know if it's a top 35 rap album of all time, but this is definitely a classic. Check that out if you haven't, if we're being honest. It's a great album. Okay. I would also say this makes my top 5 right here. As of today, Reasonable Doubt. It's a great album. The MMLP, it's great. I don't know if I'd call it a classic myself personally. I understand its influence. It's just got a handful of bad songs on there. Got another top 10 rap album of all time. DJ Premier, one of my favorite producers. This is a great album. Wow. This might be Lil Wayne's highest album, The Drought 3. Future got in the top 20, but it's his only pick, it looks like. Believe it or not, I've listened to Invasion of Privacy. Definitely not a top 200 rap album of all time, but I didn't need to tell y'all that. Alright, here we go. Top 10. Alright, you got your woman, Lauryn Hill. Your group, Tribe Called Quest. Okay, we'll save this for another video. Wu-Tang entered 36. I'm not gonna strip it of its classicness, but I don't think it's a top 10 rap album. We got Another Girl in the top 10. Okay. Here's the Ye album. Okay, T-Pab. Really? Public Enemy. I respect it. The Blueprint. Okay, they got Stankonia as Outkast best album. Not a bad pick. It's pretty ambitious. Now, I do think this has a legit case as the best rap album of all time. I'd say this or the other Biggie album. Biggie's just great at everything. Making albums, lyricism, beat selection, everything. You know, there's a handful of classics in here. You can definitely learn some hip hop off this list. I wouldn't say this is a good list by any means, especially as someone who hasn't listened to more than half the albums on this list. I can tell you that this is not a good list. It might sound a little hypocritical. Oh, he hasn't heard most albums, but I mean, you don't really have to. It's not like, if you know your hip hop, you know that there's something fishy going on with this list. Now, you guys know me. You always want to make your own. You don't want to take somebody else's for opinion. I guess, I haven't listened to a Public Enemy album yet, so, all these other albums, they're probably pretty deserving. I don't know about this Missy Elliott either, but I thought I'd just come with some raw reactions. Probably react to this again in a couple of years when I've listened to a lot more classics, get to know my mind more on hip hop. I've been what I like to call critically listening to hip hop for a good 5 years now, so I have heard a handful of classics, but I still got to work my way down the list. I'm not like a lot of other people. I don't slurp up every classic and then try to make up my mind on hip hop. I like to digest it slowly. A lot of people get to grow up with hip hop and see how it evolved, and I kind of like to do the same for myself. But like I said, I thought I'd just give you guys a good and quick reaction. make another one in a couple of years. And now since I figured out how to do what I've wanted to do, I'll probably start uploading maybe a little consistently. I wouldn't know what all topics to do, but you know, Rolling Stones top 200 rap albums of all time. Not a good list, maybe even a bad list, but they gave you some of the essentials. They're just trying to make everybody happy with this list. Sad thing is, they'll make no one happy with this list. But thanks for watching, and we'll go over this again sometime.